So I wanted to do a tier list now that I've played a lot more comp in Marvel Rivals, kind of to do what's between S. I don't think anybody's F tier, kind of between S and most likely C tier. I don't think I can put anything in D or E tier, to be honest, but I'm excited. So let's get started. I'm just going to start and just go from left to right here and just see how things go. So to start off with, Adam Warlock. I think he's kind of niche. I think that he's got some really cool res potential that could kind of turn the fights if your team loses. But I think that as far as healers go, he's not the best. But I think that his resurrection ability, especially he can resurrect Star-Lord, and Star-Lord is a pretty popular pick as well. I put him in the B tier category. I think that's a very generous place to put him. I wouldn't put him at number 1 by any means. And A tier seems a little bit too generous for somebody like Star-Lord. So, or not Star-Lord, for Adam Warlock. So I think B tier is a good place to put it. So the next one's going to be Black Panther. And this is going to be difficult because this is all going to be depending on the certain skill that the player has on here. To me, I can't play Black Panther to save my life. I've tried. I think he's way too fast paced. I need to play him more to understand him. I think that if you can play him at a really high paced gameplay and really just take over and just go for the enemy's backline, I think that he's between S and A tier. I think that he's incredibly difficult to play and most people don't play him to the best of abilities. So I'm having a hard time putting him in one or the other. I think that when you really put him at the top and you really play him super well, I think he is S tier beyond a doubt. But I don't think that I've seen many players like that. So you know what? I'm gonna put him at S tier because when you do play him right and you punish the enemy team, he is oppressive to say the least. Black Widow, she's okay. She's not the best. She's not the worst. I feel like she's really overshadowed by Hawkeye. I don't think that she's terrible. I think that she'd probably go lowest on the list. Actually, no, I see one more character I put a little bit lower. But I just don't think that she gets that much utility. It's like, yeah, you can sit in the back and just snipe, but I don't think that she has the best kit in the world. I think that she's lacking a lot. I'll put her at C tier. I don't think she's the best. I don't think she's the worst. I think that C is a pretty fair place to put her. And then Hulk. Again, this is going to be depending on how you play him, because there are some players that I see on Hulk that are just, some people do him really well. I've seen Zebra's videos and he's phenomenal at Hulk. And even the last match I just played before I started recording this video right here, Hulk did really well that fight. That being said, he is an ultimate sponge. Like, you just get so much ult charge for shooting that man for free, and it is insane. So for me, I will put him at B tier because I think it would be a little bit too generous to put him at A tier. Again, if you play him well, I guess you could put him into A tier, but I just think that there are better tanks right now in the game. Speaking of the A, it's the America man himself, Captain America. He's not bad. He's not the best, but he's not bad. He's really there just to kind of annoy people and kind of distract people, I guess. I don't really see him getting too many final blows because his damage is kind of But that being said, he's kind of really good at survivability. And he's kind of in the same position as Hulk, where there are better tanks out there. He's just the one that kind of is there to annoy everybody else. So I'll put him at B tier as well. I don't know. Cloak and Dagger, S tier. I don't even need to I didn't even need to think twice about that. Cloak and Dagger is S tier. Their healing is amazing. They have such survivability. They have a really good kit as far as to be able to disengage if they get doved in. If you dive them, they have a really good kit to disengage, and they've got a really nice amount of damage as well. Their ultimate is insanely OP and it's really strong. S tier right away. I don't even feel like I need to even talk about that one. Doctor Strange next. S tier. His kit, again, that is something that's amazing. His ultimate is phenomenal. He's got a shield that can just block for days. as well as it regenerates really fast if you break it. His portal is really good for making plays as well. S tier, I think, is just a really easy place to put him. He's picked in most comp matches, especially in the higher tiers. I definitely think that Strange is at the S tier. Next is Groot. Groot, I'm having a difficult time putting into a category. I'm between S and A tier. I think that he's very solid. He's got a lot of survivability. He's got some nice utility with his walls. And I think he's got his little Fortnite mechanics where he can just like build the walls to climb up. But that being said, he is an ultimate sponge. I actually get pretty excited. Groot is really good, but I get really excited when I see a Groot because I'm a Moon Knight main and I could just throw my daggers for days and I could just I get so much ult charge. So I'm torn between A and S. You can make an argument for either one, and you're not wrong with whichever one you say. I think it's going to come down to the preference of the person making the tier list 100%. So I'm going to put him in A tier personally. I think that he's a step below Strange and also a step below one other tank as well that I'm going to be talking. Actually, maybe two other tanks I'm going to be talking about. But yeah, it's just I think that he's definitely A tier. I just wouldn't put him at the same level as certain other tanks in the game, and that's kind of what it comes down to. Hawkeye, S tier. There's a reason why he is banned in most high level matches. I am currently Diamond 1 while I'm recording this video. I'm really trying to get to Grandmaster and even potentially top 500. This is the first time I've ever climbed a ranked ladder, by the way, so I feel like I'm doing pretty well for the game only being a few weeks out, so I'm really happy with it. But Hawkeye is without a doubt S tier. He's banned in most matches. He's the only character, I believe, in the game that has one-shot potential, so he is just absolutely oppressive in every sense of the word. I would definitely put him at S tier without a doubt. And then again, Hela, same thing, S tier. Her amazing primary, it does so much damage. The amount of pressure that she can provide just by hitting her left click is insane. And then also she's just got a kit to be able to get out of a certain situation if you dive her. She got her kit to move away, and her ultimate is really strong as well. Hela is definitely S tier. Her and Hawkeye are the two that I see that are banned the most in higher levels. And then Iron Fist. Iron Fist is one of those characters that I'm like, I've tried to play him, and I'm not good with him. I go in, I'm ready to punch the world. I'm ready to be Mike Tyson out there. And like, I go to dive on one of their squishies in the back line, and then I just fall over. And then I fight an Iron Fist on the other team, and they're like out here doing parkour and being able to like take on the world. I'm still struggling to understand how to play him. I think that he's between B and A tier as far as comp goes. I think that if you play him really well, I think that he's insanely strong. But I wouldn't put him at S tier like certain other characters. But he is like, when you play him right, you play him right. And then it comes to Iron Man. Iron Man, this is a character that I love. I would love to be an Iron Man main because of the way he can roll around and fly and play. I love that playstyle. I think it's so much fun, but he just gets punished so easily. I feel like I'm a pretty damn good Iron Man, but there's sometimes where I just feel absolutely useless. I'm going to put him at the B tier. I don't think he's quite C tier, but I think that he's B tier to the point where it's a passing grade and it's not too bad. But and plus, especially at those lower ranks, nobody looks in the sky. So I'll put B tier. I think that's fair. Jeff the Land Shark. I think Jeff is amazing at the lower tiers, bronze, silver, stuff like that. I think that he's really good at that. But when you get to those higher ranks, he just doesn't have the healing output. He doesn't have the survivability, and you're just going to get dove so quickly. I think that if we're looking at the higher ranks, which is, I'm in Diamond. I know it's not the highest rank, but it's where I'm at right now. I think that he's just not the safest pick. I would put him at C. You just get absolutely annihilated in 2 seconds. There are so many better healers. I'm just saying. All right. The next one's going to be Loki. Loki S tier. I'm not even thinking twice about it. His ultimate is genuinely broken. It's a better version of Echo's ult from Overwatch, and his kit is phenomenal. To be able to, he's got basically immortality lamp that he could put on 3 of his clones and like have them spread out through that. Also the AoE healing that his clones have, as well as the single target healing that he has. I think Loki's phenomenal, and if you play him right, you are going to be carrying matches. It's unbelievable. And then our next healer is just going to be Luna Snow, another S tier healer in my opinion. I think healers are very, very, very strong. Also, I'm really bad at knowing the names of what is it? Vanguard, Strategist, and Duelist. Sorry, I'm just gonna call him Tank Healer. DPS. I'm so bad with that. Luna is her. She gets ult so fast, and her ultimate is amazing. It's a incredibly long Zenyatta ult where she can just heal forever, and nobody in there even dies. It's amazing, and she's got so much damage as well that she could just pump out to hit both your enemies, and then also the same abilities hitting her allies to heal them. It's amazing. You know, to Russ, Loki's ult, he copies another person on the other team, and then he can use their ult right away. Magik. Magik is another one of those characters that I really, really like. I really like Magik, but I don't think she's 100% that great, especially at the higher ranks. I don't think that she's the best. I think that she's a lot of fun, but I think that if she's targeted, I think she dies in 2 seconds. I think B tier is very generous for her. I think that she's got a lot of damage potential, and she has got the kit to be able to potentially one-shot a squishy, like in this like one combo. But I don't think she's like really, really strong to the point where she's A or S tier. A tier is kind of reserved for those characters that I see in most matches, but don't really fit in at that S tier category where there's like they're potentially getting even banned in most matches, you know, if that makes sense. And then the next character is going to be Magneto. I think Magneto is one of the tanks that are at S tier for sure. His kit is amazing for survivability. He's got an amazing shield that he can use to be able to block anything for the most part. He's got a self bubble. He can put a bubble on his allies as well to be able to help them with survivability. So I think he's amazing for that. On top of that, his ultimate, it's a really good counter ultimate as well, which can absorb any projectiles in the area, which is massive. I think Magneto is a very, very solid pick, and it's one of those tanks that you see at most high rank matches. Mantis. Again, we are going with so many S tier characters. Mantis really feels S tier to me. She is phenomenal with her healing. Her kit is amazing for survivability. Her ultimate's basically one step down from Luna's. They're basically the same ultimate, just like Luna's is better in my opinion. But Mantis, her survivability, her damage, she's got the sleep that she can put on enemy flankers that try to attack her. She can have, and her damage, if you hit headshots with her, Mantis is one of the best DPS healers in the game. And then there's Moon Knight, which is my main because I love Moon Knight. He's got such a special place in my heart, but I don't think he's S tier, but I don't think he's B tier either. I think that a very safe place to put Moon Knight is A tier. He's my main. I love him so much, but there are times where I'll be throwing him my stuff, especially at higher ranks where you're trying to throw down an Ankh and it gets destroyed in 2 seconds. There are just times where you just feel useless because you're just getting out. Your damage is just significantly getting out healed, and there's nothing you can do. So but overall, I think that especially with climbing the ladder, I think that Moon Knight, if you can get the hang of him, I think that he can carry matches really nicely. He's definitely my favorite character. I think he's got the most fun and unique kit in the entire game, and I just think he's the most rewarding too. I like him a lot. I think A tier is a very generous place to put him. Namor is going to be next. I will get to Spider-Man, don't worry. I'm recording this video for YouTube. So hello everybody, we're live streaming this right now. So hi everybody on Twitch, hi everybody on TikTok, hi everybody on YouTube. We're streaming this live and then we're gonna put this video out there on YouTube. So don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, so Namor is gonna be next. Namor is another one of those characters where I feel like S tier is a little bit too generous because he's really good, but he can get punished kind of easily. I mean, he's got a really nice kit with his shield, with his turrets do amazing damage. And I think that B tier is a little bit too low for him because he's got a really nice kit. So I would put him in A tier for sure. For sure. I think that his kit is amazing. If you can hit your tridents, especially get headshots with that, between that and also being able to, if you can hit your tridents and then also hitting your turrets, like putting your turrets in solid places, I think that is amazing DPS potential. And I think that he's really good for defense for certain situations like that. But I wouldn't put him as far as S tier for that. And then Penny. I think Penny is I think she's an amazing tank. And I was debating on putting her at S tier, but I think that I want to put her at A tier due to the simple fact that Strange and Magneto have a lot more survivability with their shields, and they can survive for days. Penny is in the same situation as Groot, where I feel like she can just soak up damage, and if you target her for 2 seconds when her healers aren't looking, she drops. So I'm going to put her at A tier. That might be a little bit controversial. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that I don't know. I just, for me, if you can get melted in 2 seconds and when somebody's not looking, I think that's one of the, I don't know. For me, that's one of the downsides of tank. You know, it's kind of the same thing with Groot. And then Psylock, I think, not to do any spoilers, but I think that Psylock is going to be my last S tier characters. Psylock is, when you can play her right, it's the same thing as Black Panther, where you are going to be absolutely oppressive. Penny is, or I'm sorry, Psylock is really good with her damage. She is just genuinely insane as far as her survivability as well, because she's really quick. She's got those dashes. She's got invisibility. She's amazing as far as that stuff. And her damage, whenever I'm up against a Psylock, I get absolutely just shredded. I think she's amazing with that. Rocket's one of those characters that I feel like isn't bad, but he's not Luna, and he's not Mantis, and he's not Loki. So I will put him, I'm gonna put him at B tier. I think he's got some nice healing potential, and he's got a nice kit to help the team survive. And he's got insane, I love his ultimate where you just get a damage boost. So what is it, a 40% damage boost? I like that a lot. But again, he's just not Luna, and he's not Mantis. It's literally that simple. So that's why I wouldn't put him at A tier, to be honest. Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is one of those characters that is really good at lower ranks, and she's not bad at the higher ranks, but you have to be really smart. I actually just did a comp match and won with her when my backline was getting dove by both a Black Panther and a Spider-Man simultaneously. So I just went Scarlet Witch and just like, I was just able to just kind of punish them. A lot of people at the lower tier, Scarlet Witch is phenomenal. Bronze S tier, but I'm talking about overall here. I'm going to put Scarlet Witch as B tier. I think she's got very good climbing potential. I think she's really good in bronze, silver, even into gold. But when you get past that, I think people know and understand how to play around that, and they don't get punished by her that easily because they're not going to be off on their own 1v1ing somebody who doesn't need to aim, you know? And then Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the same thing as Black Panther, where if you can play him really good, and really solid and be able to just like punish their backline, like be in and out so quickly, he can be S tier. But most times I go up against the Spider-Man, I just kind of see them feeding. I think he's not bad, and his ultimate could be a little bit better. I feel like I've survived his ultimate a lot more as I've ranked up, and the healers can just kind of like turn and just heal for 2 seconds. I think A tier is I think it's a medium spot, because if you're good at him, he can be S tier. That's the kind of thing is like a lot of these characters, if you're good at them, they can be S tier. I'm kind of debating on putting Black Panther down to A tier, because he's, in my opinion, Black Panther and Spider-Man are in the same boat, where if you're really good with them, you can carry the match, but you just don't see them as often as other characters, you know? I'm kind of debating on putting that there. All right, next is gonna be Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl isn't bad. She's kind of like the Junkrat. I think she's good, and she's got some nice damage potential. I just kind of see her getting punished a lot nowadays. She's probably good in the lower ranks, but whenever I see her at a higher rank, anytime she goes to jump, everybody just looks up, shoots, and then she drops. I feel like she's not bad. Her damage is really good. I think B tier is a really good place to put her. I think that if I put her into A tier, because like for me, A tier is the place where you put a lot of the people that they're almost good, but S tier is the one that we're seeing characters getting banned. That's why I'm kind of debating on putting Black Panther down one. You know what, guys? This might be controversial, but I'm gonna be putting Black Panther down to A tier. He's not on the same level. He's not getting bans every now and then, you know. Star-Lord's A tier. I'm gonna put Star-Lord at A tier right away. To me, I don't even need to think twice about it. I think Star-Lord has an amazing ultimate. He's got amazing damage potential as well, where he can just shoot, blink. He doesn't even need to reload through all that. I think that he's amazing. His ultimate is phenomenal. He could just fly up in the air and just get any kind of weird angle on your enemies and really be able to just take out at least 1 or 2 squishies and turn the tides of a fight. I think it's really solid, and I think A tier is a great place to put him. I think it's a nice little in between. Storm. Storm's one of those characters that I feel like she's good with her ultimate, and then outside of that, you're not doing anything. I put Storm at C tier. I think putting her on B tier as the same level as like these other characters is a little bit too generous. I don't think that she's bad. Actually, I think she's kind of bad. I think that her kit is a little bit wonky. It doesn't make sense to me having Storm be really slow, but she's not bad. She's bad. She's not my favorite. I've tried. Not really big fan. In comp, it's just non-existent. Her ult's really strong. Her ult is really, really strong. But outside of that, you're just getting no value for the most part. Punisher is in the A tier, though. His kit, I mean, you just play Call of Duty when you're playing with him. He's he can just shoot and just take down enemies for days. Between that and his turret, you're providing so much pressure, whether you're shooting their front line, their back line, whatever you're shooting at, and his ultimate as well. A tier. I wouldn't put him at C tier or at S tier, because you just don't really see him getting banned at all, and because like he's not that oppressive. But I definitely think A tier is a good place to put him. Thor is one of those characters. Thor is one of those characters that I don't know if I want to put an A or B tier. Because when you play Thor right, Thor is amazing. But I think that he's just such an ult sponge as well. I think that he's such an ult sponge. So I think that putting him in B tier isn't bad, but if you play him properly, like the way I've seen him playing in like the higher ranks, he's good. And he's a step up from Cap. He's a step up from Hulk for sure. So I would feel weird putting him in the same category as them. I feel like he's kind of on the same level as Groot. and Penny, where you see him in most matches, and you're like, okay, that's solid. It's a good pick. It's a good pick. So to me, I really think that Thor is a solid pick for that kind of thing. I think Thor is just definitely he's a good tank. Venom, on the other hand, guys, you're gonna think I'm crazy. You're gonna think I'm crazy. You think I'm crazy. I think Venom is B tier. I would not put Venom on the same list as Thor or Groot or Penny. I don't think he's that high up. Venom is really good in the lower MMRs like bronze, silver, but as you climb, he gets, if you go into the back line, you're going to get slapped by a Mantis. You're going to get absolutely focused for 2 seconds. You're going to have to use your shield, and then you're just going to have to get out. Basically, every time I see a Venom go in, I see him fly in, go in, and then leave. That's all I see. I don't really see him doing anything. He's like the wrecking ball of this. It's just, I don't really see it. So, I don't know. All right, we got 2 more. First one's going to be Winter Soldier. So, Bucky. Bucky's really good if you can hit your shots. And I think that he's got an amazing ultimate. I would love to put him somewhere between S and A. I don't think he's at the oppressive nature of like some characters that are in the S tier. I don't think that he's as oppressive as characters like Hawkeye or Hela. But his ultimate is amazing. His ultimate is amazing. So personally, I will put him at, oh, that's a difficult one. That's a difficult one. You know what? To me, it's one of those things where it's like, if it's in the right player's hands, to be honest, it's just like, I don't see him being on the same level as Hawkeye or Hela. I think he's good, don't get me wrong, and he could turn the tides of fights. He's kind of the same thing as like Moon Knight or Iron Fist or even Namor, where it's like, if you could play him well, you're oppressive, and that's what like the A tier is there for. But he's not getting picked every single match. I think his ult is phenomenal. I think his ult really carries him through a lot. I really think that his ult is amazing, but I think that A tier is a good place to put him. I would not be upset if somebody was like, "Hey, he's S tier." I think I think he's got a very, I think there's a lot of potential for him to put him in S tier, but I personally will put him in A tier because he's just not on the same level as Hawkeye or Hela. That's kind of, to me, Hawkeye and Hela, as far as DPS characters go, that's the gold standard, and he's just not there. And then there's Wolverine. Wolverine is amazing at tank busting, and I feel like people just aren't playing him properly. I feel like at lower ranks, you're good luck on that character because you need the support of your healers, and you're just not going to get that most times. I don't know whether to put him in C or B tier. I think that if you play him right, he's not bad, but I think that he's just, I think that he's just not the same level as characters like Iron Man, even Magik. Magik, in my opinion, if you want to go a close range character, I would just go Magik. I wouldn't really put him there. So I'll put Wolverine at C tier. I like Wolverine. I think he's a fun character to play, but I really wouldn't put him on the same tier as somebody like Iron Man or even like Magik or something like that. So that's just my opinion. Or even somebody like Squirrel Girl. I don't know. I know there's a lot of weird takes in there. I know there's a lot of really weird takes in there, but this is where I'm at currently in my, where I'm playing comp. Cause like I wanted to have an even list because I know it's difficult having it be, because like everybody's gonna have something else, something different. If I was in bronze, this would be something else. If I was in silver, this would be a complete different ranking. If I was in plat, this would be a different ranking. But since I'm in between diamond and grandmaster, I just feel like you have to do what you see most as well. And yes, a lot of these characters, if not most of these characters, are broken in their own individual way. And I think that that is awesome for the game. I think that's a lot of fun for it. But I think that there are some kits that work better in especially the higher MMRs. And that's why certain characters are in the S tier. That's why certain characters are in the A tier. Characters like, I know I've said this before, but characters like Iron Fist, Black Panther, Spider-Man, they could be incredibly oppressive. And if you play them right, S tier for sure. But I'm talking about an overall broad spectrum for this. So, all right, guys, that is the tier list. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I would highly appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.